Let's talk a little bit about back development. Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. And again, I get asked a lot, what do I do for my back? People are like, wow, your back is really good. Even though you're a powerlifting background, you like a bodybuilder quality back. And yeah, guys, it's just deadlifts. Go home. That's it. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. No, kidding aside, yes, deadlifts are part of it, but they're really not my primary back builder. I do feel like they contribute. But realistically, what I personally found is my best overall base builder, weighted pull-ups. Straight up, weighted pull-ups get the job done. Like as far as building your lats, and again, we'll talk about through this video development of the entire back. But if you're really looking for the best just lat builder, it is very hard to beat weighted pull-ups. Get strong at them. The main focus needs to be the stretch on the bottom. A lot of people will argue about different aspects of the back and other things by swinging your chin up over the bar or changing, which is a different bar path, by the way. We could argue about that all day long, but I can tell you right now, I don't do that. I don't need to do that. I don't feel any more of my back. In fact, I feel less lat when I do that. So for me personally, that's been a big, big, big part of it, right? A big part of it has been that those weighted pull-ups and getting a stretch and a hang at the bottom. I personally find a wider grip. I feel more lat. So right up front, that's near the top of the list, right? That is the absolute top of the list. You'll see me doing different things through here for my back. Now, as far as up next, barbell rows, even dumbbell rows to some extent, but barbell rows, in this case, you guys see me doing seal rows there. I've done a lot of different types of rows, overhand rows, underhand grip rows, pen lay rows, inverted rows. I've done all those things. I really do like the seal rows. So as far as really feeling that whole middle and upper back, I personally feel seal rows do really well. But generally speaking, I don't think you can go wrong with rows. My advice though, especially if you're really trying to get the best overall development there and you're trying to make it more about the back, I do recommend, though, you do something with a little wider grip as far as your rowing goes. I know a lot of people like the handles and everything, the little V-bar handles, and I don't think they're bad. I think you get a good stretch. I do personally feel you'll get a little better overall back development, a little less focus on the arms with something a little wider, something a little wider. Now, that being said, I still think all rows though were good. I think even hammer strength. I've used hammer strength rows before. They're not that bad actually. I don't think they can replace free weights. I think free weights work best. Just my opinion, my observation, but it's mental for me. I like to feel that weight in my hand. Okay, but there's something to that. The mindset matters. But as far as even just taking everything out like you would on a machine, the seal row replicates that. And I really feel those. So that's one of the types of rows I feel in my lats, right? When I get on that seal row on that bench, I would say as far as any row that I've done, I feel the lats a little more on that one. I feel like I get a hair more upper back on some other types. As far as what I personally feel as someone who has pretty good back development. Deadlifts, of course, yes, deadlifts are part of the equation. But let's talk about some of the other movements. So I do feel like barbell rows, whether you do them standing or chest supported, weighted pull-ups, those are your number two right there. Those are the king. Those are the top, absolute top of the list. Do I think deadlifts contribute? Yes. I think particularly for the lower back, I think for the traps, all that, absolutely. I think they help with lats a small amount, in my opinion. They're not an amazing lat builder. They're just not. They can't be. But what I will say as far as rowing goes, when guys talk about squeezing and holding at the top, I disagree with that. I don't think that's beneficial. In fact, I've noticed a strong correlation between guys who obsess over that and guys who have no back. Seems to be a lot of overlap. And most of the guys I've seen who just row heavy and don't care about that, row and pull up heavy and not care about that squeeze at the top, I've found tend to have the bigger backs. And I'm not saying it's necessarily causation. It just could be mindset, could be tension. Just an observation, but that whole focus on the squeeze doesn't help. But I would also point out with a deadlift, you're going to get way more weight with that squeeze with the shoulder blades back on the deadlift than you are on any type of row or pull down or anything else. You just are, period. So if that's what you were seeking, I want that scapular retraction and to squeeze those lats together, well, do a 500-pound deadlift. And you'll get exactly that, way more than you will with that little light dumbbell or whatever you're doing. So again, those are kind of my big ones, right? Those are my big ones. I think that's for most people. Just get real strong at some type of barbell row. Get strong at some variation of the weighted pull-up. You don't necessarily have to do the wide grip full overhand like I do, neutral grip, even chins. All that stuff works the lats. They all work it. I think we can get a little obsessive with the specifics. You know, oh, it's got to be, this is the best type of row. This is the best type of pull-up for your back. No, it doesn't work that way. It really doesn't. Yes, there are minor differences, but at the end of the day, you get really good at them. You're going to get good back development if you do both. Where I think, again, people mess up, focus on silly nonsense. Where I see guys make the biggest mistakes, let me focus on squeezing at the top. Let me do a one-arm pull down to try to line the angles of the fibers up. Okay, that sort of silly stuff is not going to help your back. It's just not. It's a waste of time. It's just nonsense. And that's how I feel about both of those sort of methods. Get strong, move some big weight, make sure you get a good stretch. Okay, on those two movements. Now, some other things that can help as well. Pullovers. Okay, of course you saw me doing the dumbbell rows there too on that incline bench. I like stuff like that on the incline bench, and here's why. It really helps you isolate that upper back more. So again, let's say we were talking about the lats at a little more on the seal row. That little bit of angle, something like a 45-degree incline bench. You get the same thing from, say, a bent over row that's really high angled, like a Yates row. It does a similar effect. We're up higher. Okay, you're at a higher angle. It's going to do more trap. You're going to get a little more trap, a little more rear delt. You're going to get less lat. You're going to have to use less weight too. Okay, all right. But isolating them with dumbbells on something like a bench like that, not a bad approach. I feel like that can help fill out the upper back more. Like, so if you have a lot of lat and the traps and the rear delts are lagging, that movement can really help fill those out also. And then also adding pullovers. Like, pullovers work your lats. Pullovers work your rear delts. I think they're not a bad addition either. So these are kind of like secondary shout outs. I kind of gave you my big ones. Just get real strong at weighted pull-ups, real strong at any type of barbell row. Get strong at deadlifts. You'll have a good back. If you want some other stuff, though, you're like, well, I just want to make sure I get the rest of the fine details. Okay, that's where you can start doing a different type of smaller row, a dumbbell row, whether it's a hand supported on a bench or up on a 45-degree incline like I'm doing, can help fill that upper back out more. Maybe if you want to work a different angle, again, the pullovers, not a bad choice. I do feel like they help. So if we're looking for just the finishing touches, these other movements can help. What I don't think helps, silly stuff like squeezing and holding and pausing, so you're forced to reduce the tension and stuff in the stretch position to use a lighter weight that you can squeeze at the top, waste of time. Trying to line the fiber angles with one arm, waste of time. Stick to the basics. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys and gals next time.